This
runways.
conference will now be recorded.
And that's going to, in my view, have an impact on the type of development that can take place, if at all, because these areas that are dedicated as part of the flight path for departure and arrival will affect, in my view, the height of the buildings that could be built. And modern industrial buildings today, 30 to 50 feet high, is where the sweet spot is in today's industrial real estate world. And it has to do with the handling of material. It's more efficient to handle it vertically than it is horizontally. Also, the Army engine plant apparently will be an industrial development scheme as opposed to a mixed-use development. And therefore, the buildings that will be built are going to be anywhere from 30 to 50 feet high. That will encroach on that area that's supposed to be dedicated as part of the access and egress of aircraft. I think that's going to have a negative impact on economic development in those two instances. Further, at the end of Sniffin's Lane, next to Knapp's restaurant, there's a 2-acre piece that's on the market going to be developed. More than likely, it is zoned for industrial. So those are my concerns as it relates to economic development. In terms of the development itself, yes, the airport really needs quite a bit of repairs and rerouting and so forth. But the expansion of the airport, in my view, is going to have a negative impact on development of these two properties, which, you know, it's a significant amount of development that's going to be taking place. Lastly, I have a question, which is, we have an agreement, we meaning the town, Mayor Harkins, have an agreement with the city of Bridgeport that they will not expand their. So those are my thoughts.
The last thing you said, Randy, you have an agreement.
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. We have an agreement.
Well, when there was a rerouting of Main Street to accommodate the safety zone that was installed on one runway, there is an agreement existing that was part of the negotiations and concession that was made by the airport, the city of Bridgeport, that the runways would not be expanded, and that's in place.
I would assume that the people drafting this master plan know about the agreement, right?
Well, it would have to be addressed. It would have to be negotiated. I don't know what the process is for that. But there is a contractual agreement with the city of Bridgeport that, in return for, cooperating with them on moving Main Street, that they agreed that it would not, there would be no further runway expansion.
Well, that one runway, I forget which one it is. You can't extend it because there's wetlands there.
That's a whole other
at
issue.
The end.
The environmental impact and the impact into wetlands and wildlife, etc. I didn't want to get into that because that's quite a hurdle for them to be able to jump. I don't see that happening. But as it relates to what we're charged with, as I understand, is economic development issues, both pro and con. And I've expressed my views on that.
Thanks, Randy.
I mean, should we make a note of that, Mary? That one of the,
I'm making notes, Jim.
it's a good point that we don't want the expansion of the airport, especially relative to the Army engine plant, like have that then be restrictive on what can be done with the Army engine plant, right? Even though I think the airport can be really conducive to having a transportation to and from that property. You also want to be able to, how tall is the Army engine plant? Is that not
Well,
50?
the Army engine plant, I believe, is at 8 feet. I'm trying to think of where it is at sea level, but it has to be brought up another 9 feet
That's correct.
as the base cap. But
Then you
I
have the building on top of it.
pardon?
Then you have the building on top of it. So if you raise the grade 9 feet and add
Right.
another 50
But
to it,
I don't think that that's a flight.
What was that?
Yeah, I'll take a look at the flight plan, but I don't think it affects the Army engine site. I know it does affect over where the beach house used to be. There's a flight there's a flight plane, a flight over that way, where the lacrosse fields are. But
How
I'll
about even
confirm, Randy.
how about even those new apartments that where the old Ramada Inn was and where the Exxon Mobil property was?
it wouldn't be affected.
They all fall within the flight plane now. They're fine. Because they wouldn't have been able to be built.
Right, right.
Um,
So Randy, you're saying that they're far enough away, that hotel and apartment building?
That's my understanding.
Okay, because that's 50 feet plus. So, okay, that's fine.
but
you have
now, Randy, if
a
you,
site, which is contiguous to where FedEx is, and only in the front of it, but also to the inside of it. That would be affected, in my view. I mean, from what I saw, they had, quite frankly, they did quite a bit of illustrations of the areas that are going to have to be available in order to meet and this would be if they have a certain type of airplane, which would be used for if they decide to reopen passenger service. General aviation, it's fine the way it is. Again, it's a ton of information.
Yeah.
I found myself nodding off more than once.
Well,
There is a lot there.
so what is that? It's a plan that gets done once every 10 years, the way I read that. Is that correct? They update that every 10 years?
and they're overdue. I think
Yeah.
we're past the 10-year.
I mean, are they starting to raise money for the passenger terminal?
No.
Okay, that was 5 years down the line, and that was all private investment. So I don't know if that's an issue from their end, but I think Randy's comments are all really good as it relates to economic development. Those are really good points.
And what I'll do is put it together, and then I'll run it by all of you before I send it off, in case you have any other comments you want to add to it.
Yeah, I mean, the only other one that was what I was trying to allude to before is just communication and how do you get feedback from the business community as it relates to the airport? Is there a way to reach out more rather than just, I don't recall ever seeing the 4 meetings advertised that they did have, but so.
And we've made personal invites, Jim, to some of the businesses that are surrounding there and let them know.
Okay.
They haven't come, but we've let them know.
Okay. Any other comments on the airport issue? Okay, so Mary, then can you give an update of the economic development?
Yes. Just grabbing my sheet here. Hold on. So we have Amazon. We had reached out, I think I told you, through Stratford Strong to see if what the donations they could make to either businesses or the school system. And they came through for the school system, donating math packets and picnic tables to all of the elementary schools. Karen Doyle has set up a photo op that'll be held on Monday, October 19th at Eli Whitney at 11:30, Karen? I think it's okay. So we were very excited about that. They were not able to come through on the business side of things. So one of the things that we had pursued initially, and we were kind of pushed away from it, was trying to get funding for businesses through the CDBG funding. And then, we're reading about how Milford and Fairfield did some of that with their CDBG funding. So we found out there's money there and in the pot that we are currently working with Chris Van Decky on to figure out if we can help certain businesses. So the criteria is very specific. Karen Doyle put together a survey that Chris Van Decky is going to put out, I think, within the next day or so. And it's just because it covers micro, let me see here. It covers micro enterprises, so that's 5 people or less in a business. Businesses that have applied for the PPP and have run out and need it for another use. Do they need to pay their rent, their landlord? Do they need to, be able to pay employees to keep them on board? They have to have a 70. We have to. The overall picture has to be about 70% low mod income. But you will find surprisingly that low mod income isn't that low. I don't have it in front of me, but Karen, you can jump in. But low mod income ranged from $50,000 a year to 70, I think.
I think if you're a single person, not married with no kids, if you make $50,000 a year, you're considered low income.
So it's surprising how low it can be. So one of the things we're going to do before Chris goes before the CDBG committee is send this survey out so that we can get a feel how many businesses might want to take advantage of it. So that when we go to the CDBG committee, we can say, we sent this survey and there are however many micro enterprise businesses in Stratford. We're trying to decipher that and get a clearer picture of it. And 70% of those businesses were interested in applying for this, doing an application and getting some money. So they're going to want to see, what percentage of businesses will actually take advantage of this before they say you have this much money. So it's going to kind of turn around very quickly. We're looking for the survey to go out this week, and we can send you a copy of it tomorrow. And then we'll ask for a response back by the end of next week and then gather the percentages, and then we'll be presenting and making our request to the CDBG committee that following week. And so it kind of will roll over fairly quickly. And we said maybe the timing is perfect now. We don't know what the last quarter of the year is going to bring to us. A lot of these businesses have gotten their PPP funding. It's come, it's gone, and now they need more help. So this is our way of trying to, support the businesses, because on the Stratford Strong basic needs side, they've done very well in terms of trying to assess the needs of the community and, get them food, basic needs, utility help, whatever they need. Through the CDBG funding. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. 1000 East Broadway Center School, the RDA and the town council had their special meeting. I believe many of you might have listened in on that in September. Chris Pia had asked the council to get back to him with feedback, and I have to follow up with him to find out if he received any other feedback from them. Our next RDA meeting will be next Tuesday, the 27th, or is that the following? October seems to be a very long month. I think it's the following week.
Yes.
So we will be discussing, what transpired at the town council meeting and what our next steps might be. I have to tell you, though, that we have had, I think I've said this before, interest from various developers that like to walk the property and are interested in developing it. I don't know where they were when we sent out the last two RFPs in 2018 and 2019, but we have another company that expressed interest again this past week, and George Perm and I will be providing them a site tour next week. So it bodes well for us that there's an interest, and if the decision is to go out for an RFP again, I think that we'll have hopefully a few different developers that will answer the RFP and provide us with some kind of a proposal. So 495 Lordship Boulevard, that's where the old Exxon building, that's been demolished. They're currently starting the remediation on it, and they should be looking to start building very soon. And the turnaround's been fairly quick because the closing was December 9, 2019, and they've aggressively been working to get it up to speed. Shakespeare Property Subcommittee. We've had a few meetings now, and we'll be meeting next week on Monday night to finalize some sample properties that can be presented as examples of what can be on the property to the RDA. We're going to talk about what might fit in terms of, we got an A2 survey, the fact that you have to have so much open space, what the operating costs are for these businesses that run, just to give the council an idea of, what they spend, where they get their revenue percentages. Is it mainly from fundraising, donors? Is it ticket sales? Is it bar sales? We've seen a mix of a lot of different examples from the different sites that we've interviewed and we've gone to see. And then we also want to be able to give them examples of how they're run. So does the town provide a long lease? Do they charge for it? Is it a nonprofit? Is it private? Is it a board where the town has a membership, a few seats on it? So just to kind of give them an overall, the RDA and the council perspective on what could be there. So that meeting will occur, like I said, on Monday, October 26th, and we're thinking it will be our last meeting. And, our November meeting, I can report to all of you how it went. Route 110, the project is officially completed. We had the final inspection on Friday. So that is completely done. Exit 33, the interchange. I spoke to the contractor today, and their plan is to work through the winter shutdown, weather permitting, of course, which would mean that rather than shut down 12/1 through 4/1, they're going to try to continue working, which should very much put them ahead of schedule. The new bridge over Barnum Avenue extension, as well as the South Side Ramp B, are 90% completed. Now you have to remember that this project was slated to be completed July of 2022. So the remaining 10% completed includes waterproofing, asphalt, extension of a beam to cross frame and tie into Ferry Boulevard. All the barrier and retaining walls are now being worked on, and the contractor is currently working out details with EPA to take the hazardous waste that's been on what they call their waste stockpile area. They call it WSA, and they're working with Raymark because Raymark is ready to receive the hazardous material now. And by the end of the month, that material should be moved. So they're anticipating completion of the project to be on or ahead of schedule, which is great news. Complete Streets, a meeting was held with town staff and the Complete Streets Committee a couple of weeks ago to review the 30% design phase for Main Street. The next steps are a technical advisory meeting, and that would include people like John Casey, Chris Timniak, Public Works, all of the experts within the town, and followed by a public informational meeting. And that would run, the initial phase runs from the start of the south side of the center of town to the Barnum, Maine intersection. And 640 Access Road, we have a distribution facility that's with Night Shift Brewery coming in. We wish that they were doing a tasting room. We've requested that they add a tasting room, but right now it's a distribution center. They are a young company based out of Massachusetts, and when Karen Sportini went and looked online, all the young men looked like they were 20 years old. And I think they've been in business for maybe 12 years now. And so we're excited to have them to Stratford, and they should be opening soon. The old Hudson Deli, that will be opening up in the next few weeks, I think, for a takeout restaurant. It'll be called Roanoke Birdhouse. It's the owners of Roanoke. And they'll be specializing in it's specialty sandwiches, lobster rolls, burgers, and chicken sandwiches. So we're really excited about that area being filled in.
Where's that one?
That's going to be right where the Hudson Deli was, right in front of Sadie's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then I think that's all I have. And I wanted to talk about the housing partnership, but I'll leave that to Jen since she has been on all the calls. If Jen doesn't mind updating everyone.
Mary, it's Randy. I know I keep asking this question, but how are we doing with the roundabout over on Stratford Ave and where South Ave comes in?
On Stratford Avenue? Yeah, so that we are at the point where DOT has put together a reconfigured design because originally they didn't think it had enough of a roundabout to slow cars down. So they have reconfigured it and they're looking for our input. We have a recent request from VIP, who has a new attorney, that are questioning the agreement that we had with them because we're giving them some and we're taking some, and they're just getting more in one end versus the other. So we're trying to schedule that meeting ASAP so that we can get back to DOT with what our input is on the design that they've come back with. So we're hoping that design will go through before the end of the year.
And one other question, and Randy has another question on that. I was going to ask you about the Shakespeare. You said that's the last meeting they're going to have? And then what does it go back to the?
Then it goes to the RDA with samples of what they came up with what, what's feasible on that property. An idea of an outdoors venue, a multi-use indoor facility, both. And we're giving examples really from all over the country, some right next to us and some as far as Oregon. So we, of different examples of size and how they're run, operating costs, and so that was the task of the subcommittee, to put that all together and just provide information so that the RDA could kind of figure out what, how they want to present it to the town council.
Okay.
I don't know if Jen can hear. I see she's still on.
Yep, I'm here. Sorry, couldn't get
Would you
myself
mind
off.
giving the housing partnership report?
Yeah, sure. So we've been very busy at the Housing Partnership. We've been meeting weekly to go through all of the kind of research and options that the consultant has put together for us. So that was kind of the first phase of our tasks as a committee. So we've completed our discussion of, the different options that Glenn presented to us, and we had some really good discussions, not just about like what kind of housing we need to see, but really what can we be doing as far as kind of incentives to help people buy houses in town, attract people into town, what type of properties are people looking for, and a long-term plan. So the next step is next week, I believe, we have another meeting with a consultant. He's going to come back to us with our consolidated report and recommendations, and then we will discuss what options we have for getting public input into the process, and then from there present to the housing authority and to the public what our recommendations are. So we seem to be on track with our timeline. We started up in June, and we expect it to, run about a year, this process. So we're tracking pretty good towards our timeline. And I have learned an awful lot about this town and the people on the committee, and it's been very interesting so far. So once we have some recommendations put together, I'd be happy to share that with all of you. Mary, anything else you want to add, feel free.
No, Jen, that was great. And like Jen said, we are really working hard every week. This is the first week we haven't had one in a while, Jen, correct?
That's correct.
And we want to get the public involved. It's just so hard during this time because it's got to be virtual. It's so we'll have to figure that out.
Okay. The other issue we wanted to discuss was the marketing video. I saw the last one came out, right? The one on the restaurants that just came out this recently. So now all the videos have been produced and they're getting good exposure, right? I mean, we're getting some good feedback.
They are.
We
I don't
paid,
know if Karen Doyle wants to report. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mary. I was just going to say we paid the invoice that was due, that was approved during our last meeting. So I think we fully paid at this point, right? So now the videos are available just to be played, and then we can either think about or talk about whether we want to, do anything further in that effort to market the businesses in Stratford. But we still have budget money now for this coming year. So maybe as things change, we want to think about little videos maybe that we can come out with as the environment changes, gets better, hopefully.
So Jim, we did finish all of our videos that were more centered towards particular businesses, and Karen Doyle has been keeping track of, how many hits we've gotten. I don't know, Karen, if you want to comment on that.
Sure. I don't have the information in front of me, but I think if we
Just an idea.
tallied all the videos together, we've reached over 20,000 hits or likes And what's interesting and what I'm learning about social media and Facebook and Instagram is that likes are just people who have actually clicked the thumbs up button. People could potentially watch the video and not like it. So we've received 20,000 likes, but the amount of people who've actually viewed the video is probably far surpassing that. So they're performing really well. The videos that were released earlier, we started, I believe, on July 21st. Those have garnered anywhere between 7,000 and 8,000 hits. And then the ones that were released just last week have, they're around like the 1,000 mark. But what's interesting, again, from like a social media standpoint, is Mike Downs started sharing the videos on the mayor's Facebook page and Instagram page. And as soon as he started sharing them on Instagram, our numbers started skyrocketing. So, which is great because Instagram kind of caters to a younger audience. So we're reaching that younger demographic. But they're performing really well. I think it was a really good investment as far as the commission goes.
So while we were, working on these, we were editing the Westfield video, because we said, okay, we were kind of following the advice of the commission, that we shouldn't let too much time go in between sending out these videos. So this will be a different kind. This is supporting business in general, just Stratford's businesses. And before I say anything about what we had to change, Karen, can you play it for them? Now, by the way, it's not out yet. You're seeing a preview, and it's going to go out, I think, the week of next week, Karen?
The week of the 19th, so next week. Yep.
Okay. All right.
So
So
just
Karen can put it
just
up
to
for us.
echo what Mary was saying, the videos that you've seen prior to this were in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This is just geared towards supporting Stratford businesses. It doesn't really touch on supporting them in response to the coronavirus. All right, so let me see. I'm going to try this for the first time. All right, so drum roll, please. I know.
Oh, cool. Looks like it might be working.
All right, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
All right, turn up your speakers. Here we go.
I'm not getting any sound.
I don't see anything, Karen, on my end.
All right, I'm pausing it.
I saw a video, but I didn't get sound.
Okay, can you
Can't
turn
hear
your
video,
speakers
but
up?
no sound.
Frank, you saw a video but no sound?
Correct.
All right, let me see.
Oh, I
It
see the
looks like,
video now.
okay, can everybody see the video? It's an Amazon logo?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, let me start it over. We'll try again. Can everyone just make sure that their speakers are turned up?
We
Okay.
can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're pretty loud. We'll turn it up more.
Okay, let's try it again.
No sound, but
And I'm not seeing anything but the Amazon.
Okay.
The video was rolling, but no sound.
yeah,
All
same
right.
here.
Well, rats. I mean, I can try one more time.
We'll play the video either way without the sound. I'm curious.
You know what I can do? I can play the video without the sound, and then, Mary, do you want me to share the link with you so you can forward it to everyone after the meeting?
Yeah, as long as you don't send it anywhere, because it's going out next week.
Right.
Well, if you want it, yeah, you can send it out next week if you want, if you're concerned about that. But yeah, we can watch the video.
Yeah.
Hear any sound?
Karen, can you hear it? Karen Sportini?
No, I cannot hear. I can see it, but I can't hear it.
I'm going to try to mute myself. Maybe if I mute myself, then you can.
No.
The video looks good though. There's
It
Brad.
does.
What if we all muted ourselves, Karen?
I could try to mute me. Now it froze. You guys seeing a frozen video?
Yeah. Well, it's moved a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a
Well, at
good
least we tried.
opportunity.
I mean, Karen Doyle, I appreciate you trying. I
Yeah.
know.
Send us
So we were excited about showing you guys first.
when you're ready.
It wasn't for lack of trying, Karen Doyle.
What's the strategy to?
I'm sorry, Jim.
What's the strategy for this video? Is it going to be social media again, or how are we going to get it out?
So we're probably going to do a press release and do a little bit extra for this one. Because it's, we put so much effort into it, and we'll kind of go through doing what we did with the others, but making, I think, more of a splash that when it comes out.
Okay, good. Yeah, the video keeps pausing, but it looks like nice video. I mean, showing. It's too bad we can't see it, but that's okay.
You'll be seeing it soon enough, and we'll make sure we send it to you guys first.
And I
Okay.
think too, excuse me, because this one is intended to appeal to businesses, that will help to dictate to whom we send it. So, for example, perhaps the Fairfield County Business Journal website, we'll look at other avenues that we wouldn't necessarily, for the ones that we've already shared. We'll be reaching out beyond our local outlets.
Right, we've been doing the BRBC. We'll continue to access them. Actually, you know who else I'll send it to is Lindy Gold in DECD.
Absolutely. That'd be great, Mayor.
Yeah, yeah.
For exposure, we
So,
can get better.
right. And so when this goes out, we'll start working on the other one. That's the community-based one. And just kind of keep on getting them out. And then we're thinking that for the start of the new year, we maybe do stories on businesses in Stratford. So for example, maybe the first one might be about a business that's been here forever. And we could do a short blurb, but then we could have, if you'd like to, kind of like they do on CBS on 60 Minutes, if you'd like to see more story about this business, click on whatever. So we think it might be a really fun way once a month to really, focus on businesses in Stratford, some new, some old, just kind of, um, keep the momentum going.
Great.
Would it be on townofstratford.com website too?
Absolutely.
And also on certainly on our new YouTube channel that Karen put together for us.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
I love
Okay.
the video. I think they've been really effective, and I think other towns or cities, even Bridgeport, that have seen it have talked about trying to do something similar. So I think it's a good initiative that has gone over very well, especially in this COVID world.
Right.
So, okay, any other comments there? Any other old business? The under old business on the agenda, the next meeting is November 10th, and then it asks for new business. So, Mary, do you want to address, is that it? Oh, we already discussed, that's the Stratford.
It was in my economic development report, so
Okay.
I skipped ahead. I apologize. Both that and the housing partnership was in my report, so we
Then
already
is
covered it.
other business. Next meeting, Mary, is November 10th. We're going to try to do it virtual again, I presume, at least for the
I
remaining.
think so, Jim. I don't know that anything's going to really change before the new year. You know,
Okay. Any other business to come before the commission tonight? Then is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Right? Second?
Second.
Ryan, you're on the board again. All right, you guys, we're all set. Thank you, everyone, and we'll talk to you in a month or a few weeks, November 10th.
and we'll send you that video. Thanks, guys.
Sounds
All
good.
right,
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
All
Take
right,
care, be
Have a
well.
good evening, everyone.
bye-bye.